Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you a gameplay video of Medora. Now this is a game that is currently in the process of fulfilling to backers, or in the very near future will be fulfilling to backers. I was fortunate enough to get an advanced copy of it, and this is going to be not the very first mission that you'll play, but I think this is the third mission. And the whole idea here is you're a group of students at this, magical academy or whatever in this fantasy world of Medora, and you're now in your final testing, and you have to pass this to become a citizen of Medora. Basically, is the general gist. This is going to be the third stage of that testing. Now, the last, or actually, I believe this might even be the fourth. This might be the fourth level. But in the previous level that I played, it was called the Gauntlet Cavern stage, the Gauntlet Cavern 1. And I got through it pretty well, had a little bit of damage to some of my guys, used some of my consumables, that sort of thing. And normally at the end of these, it has refreshed my heroes, but this time it didn't. And you move right into the Gauntlet Cavern 2, which is where we're gonna be starting. And that's why I wanted to show it to you, because it's the first time I'd seen where one level went directly into the next one without letting you refresh like that. So that's pretty much the setup. Now I will say that when we received, all the different reviewers and content creators received this game, there was included with it a sheet that had what they call 1.1 patch notes. Okay, so the game likely, well, it is coming back to Kickstarter later this year, and likely there's going to be some rules changes when that happens, and that's going to be what they're going to call the 1.1 rule set, the 1.1 rules patch, however you want to call it. However, the rules that they showed us in this sheet of paper are not finalized. Okay, so I'm not going to be using any of the 1.1 rules. Whenever you receive this game, if you're a backer and you receive it, the only thing that you need to change is there is errata on the website from like printing errors and that sort of thing, and there's just a few things. I think it's like 6 different things that were misprinted on cards or something like that. The 1.1 rule set, whatever, if it goes into effect, it will be a bit more extensive, but will actually be a rule book change if that happens. And again, they're still playtesting these, and they want to hear from players how they feel about the current rule set, because again, the current rule set is not broken or unbalanced. It's more they're looking at this as kind of a video game almost, where you might want to continue tweaking as time goes on. So just wanted to let you know what the difference is between errata versus this 1.1 rules patch. And everything you see here, I'll be playing it with the current rule set, with the rules as is. I like the ideas of some of the stuff in the patch. I don't like the idea of some of the other stuff in the patch. So we'll kind of see what sticks and what doesn't. But right now, let's get right to the table, and I'm going to show you the setup for the Gauntlet Cavern 2, and then in the next video, we'll get into the actual gameplay. So here we go. Okay, so here we go. We're getting ready to start up on the second chamber of the Gauntlet. Now, this was the first mission where at the end of so I played the Gauntlet Chamber 1, and normally what happens at the end of a mission is the game so far has told me to restore my heroes, which means they heal up, they refresh all of their items, basically they reset back to 0 to get ready for the next fight. But in this chamber, in Chamber 1 of the Gauntlet, it didn't say that. I got no rewards for beating it. It just said go on to Chamber 2. And so you'll see that some of my cards are still exhausted, which isn't a big problem, but you'll also see some of my heroes already have wounds on them, or already have damage on them coming into this fight. So let's go through what we've got right here. Zeke has in his backpack a short sword. Now, I was using this short sword up until right near the end of that last fight, because I found this Espelancer instead. Now, one downside is that this short sword is light, as is this other one, and you can see when they're light, they have this combo for the light keyword, finesse white, so it upgrades the purple die to a white one, and then also I can reroll one of my combat dice. However, the Espelancer here has a white die, but it has these other abilities. Passive, if you do not have the heavy tag, this weapon gains +1 armor. If you do not have the heavy tag, ignore the negative effects to movement from terrain. And since we have all this water, and you'll see how much, I'll show you the entire map here in a second, there's a lot of water out here. I decided that the Espelancer would be a fantastic weapon to use so that I can get through the water without all that, without it slowing me down, because it takes 2 movement every time you move out of a water tile or water space. So then we also on this have exhaust counter. This counter may be used even if you are dealt damage by the attack. Normally a counter can only be used if you are not dealt damage by an attack. Then Zeke's normal special ability is once per turn he can re-roll his dodge roll. He also has this vitality juice box, which is it's a potion. I can discard it to heal 3 to myself or an adjacent ally. He has the badass leather jacket, which has +2 health, and I can exhaust it when making a dodge roll to re-roll my dodge roll, and passive reduce physical damage dealt to you from melee attacks by 2. And the utility core passive, at the end of each encounter, gain a random mundane consumable. If you are defeated, flip this card. So basically, if you're defeated, you flip the card, and then it no longer says that you gained that consumable. It also provides 1 defense up here, and then down here, my conviction dice are upgraded with 1 white die. So you can see normally there's 2 purple dice for the conviction, and I'll actually have 1 there instead. All right, and then we've got the Blade Works, which is a martial discipline. And disciplines in this game are basically the skills that they learn. So Blade Works, martial level 1, I can exhaust it to if I have 2 one-handed weapons, melee weapons equipped, I can make a melee attack. Then we've got Rook Lars. His special ability is he has an unmodified maximum health points of 14, and he may equip an additional consumable. Right now he only has 2, but he can get up to 4 with that ability. I also have 2 Warhammers, white die, one-handed melee, exhaust to empower, and normally empowering costs 1 stamina point. Combo with another Warhammer. If you have 2 Warhammers equipped, a single Warhammer gains heavy. And so heavy basically is going to give me -1 to movement and -1 to agility. It also is -1 to force to movement as well. So that part is good, but not necessarily the -1 to my regular movement, especially, again, with all that water out there. That's going to be a little bit of a pain. The Cuirass, +1 to my armor, and then I can exhaust it when you're dealt damage, reduce physical damage dealt to you by 2. By the way, everything I've shown you so far is mundane items, with the exception of this, which is a mundane unique weapon. Moving on to the deflection core, we've got +1 armor, and then a passive ability of my conviction is upgraded with a white die. So again, instead of 2 purple, I'll have 1 purple and 1 white. Then I can flip it to, when making a conviction check, pass a conviction check. And when you flip it, you no longer have that option available to you. But it basically provides an automatic pass on a conviction check. Here we've got Magic Bomb. Discard, remove an effect from an ally within Sphere of Influence. Sphere of Influence is 4 spaces in any direction. And Ubiquitous Plank. Discard, and then I can do one of the following. Deal a purple die of physical damage to an adjacent opponent, place a plank token on an adjacent space, or reduce physical damage dealt to you by 2. By the way, this purple die worth of physical damage, anytime you deal damage like that just directly, it's not an attack, you just deal damage, then you don't have to get past the person's defense, you only have to get past any armor they have. So that's something to keep in mind. Here we've got Mend. It's a Sanctus level 1 discipline. Once per encounter, gain 2 heal tokens. When these tokens are spent to heal an ally other than yourself, gain +1 stamina points. So I did not use that in the last encounter because I was expecting to get restored at the end of the encounter like it happened in the previous 2, because this is only the 4th encounter I've played right here. Obviously that was a mistake. I should have used that to at least heal a couple of points off of some of my guys, but live and learn. Here we've got Remy Moretti. All right, her ability is She has natural flight and make a move. Remy has flight for the duration of this movement. And flight, of course, ignores terrain and other characters, other figures and stuff like that. Here we've got the War Axe, 2 white dice. It's two-handed and it is melee. Exhaust. When determining damage, this weapon gains +1 physical damage from books rolled until the attack is resolved. And then normally shields and bursts give it +1 physical damage as well. The Occult Shirt. We've got +1 movement here. And then we can exhaust it to dodge. And if the attack deals no damage, I unexhaust this card and then counter. So potentially lots of free dodges available there. And this ability core allows me to counter for free as well. Countering normally costs 2 stamina points. Dodging normally costs 1. And this ability core gives me +1 defense. Vitality Juice Box and Magic Bomb we've already seen. Here's the Hammer Helm Martial Discipline. Passive ability of +1 physical damage to my attacks. And then Exhaust. When making a melee attack, if you have a two-handed weapon equipped, you may reroll any dice in your combat dice pool. Okay, and finally we've got Nightingale Arson. Her ambitious ability is once per encounter. All other allies gain +1 stamina points. Nightingale gains +2 stamina points. She's got this magic talisman weapon. It has a purple die, one-handed, melee. Has a passive ability. If my casting die is upgraded to white, normally casting is 1 purple. So now it'll be 1 white. When making an attack or casting a spell that targets an opponent, I also automatically empower it. And 2 spell books will provide +1 magic damage. All right, and here we go. We've got the long sword, 1 white die, one-handed weapon. It is melee, combo with light, and the magic talisman is in fact a light weapon. So this combo does work finesse orange. So instead of the white die, I actually upgrade to an orange die when using the long sword. Combo with the sword, your attacks gain +1 physical damage. Or yeah, so if I was using, instead of that, if I had a sword or like a light sword, then I could have +1 physical damage automatically. And so I've thought about taking that light sword from Zeke, but then I wouldn't have my upgraded casting die. And because she does have a spell, which we'll get to in a second, I want that upgraded casting die. So we're just going to leave that how it is. 2 shields do provide +2 physical damage. Also, the other side of this is a different way to wield the weapon. You can wield it as a two-handed weapon. 2 white dice, passive ability that I can counter the first attack that doesn't deal damage or misses me each round. And I can also exhaust it to dodge. And 2 shields is +2 physical damage, and a burst is +1 physical damage. But again, because this combos with the magic talisman, I'm keeping it on the one-handed side. She's got the Occult Shirt, which is exactly like the other Occult Shirt, just different artwork. And we've got the Defense Core. Exhaust it to dodge. It also provides +1 defense and +2 health. Vitality Juice Box you've seen. Magic Bomb you've seen. Right here we've got the Bottled Blessing. It's a potion. I can discard at any time. An ally within Sphere of Influence may do one of the following. Either heal 3, reroll any dice you just rolled, or gain +1 stamina point. Here we've got the Chipped Chitin, which is a Cave Sickle relic. Everything else here, by the way, is all mundane. When you're dealt damage, ignore all physical damage dealt to you. Here we've got the Gore Shot, Cruor level 1 discipline. Cast a spell 6. So that means that the base force of the spell is 6. It'll take 1 stamina point to cast this. If successful, deal 2 magic damage, or I can take 1 irreducible damage to deal an additional magic damage equal to my highest level Cruor discipline. All right, now over here we've got our item deck, our consumable deck that we'll be drawing from if we find stuff in treasure chest or on the board, whatever. You get pretty much all the cards are double-sided, and so you draw from the bottom of the deck instead of the top. And here we've got our loot deck right here. And now let's take a look at the map. All right, so our heroes are starting down here. We've got Rook, Nightingale, Zeke, and Remy here. And up here we have a Waterlow, and let's go over what they can do real quick. Well, actually, I'll show you the card. We'll go through this as they actually play. Instead of read through all that right now, we'll deal with all that as the Waterlows actually take their turn. So we've got a water loud here. We've got 3 cave sickles, which you can see here. Right here, there's a loot right here, but it's a white loot, so I don't know what is gonna. I don't even know which color that's gonna count as. I believe I'll have to reread the rules on that. With white loot, you randomly select a different color that's not on the board when you activate that. We've got a talisman, or I'm sorry, a totem up here. The way totems work is as soon as I am within line of sight of that totem, then it activates. And you can see this red outline terrain is an obstructing terrain, I believe. Yeah, obstructing terrain. And obstructing terrain doesn't even count as a space, blocks line of sight, blocks movement, all that kind of stuff. So I'd have to get past that to be able to see that totem, at which point the totem would activate. This green terrain right there is hindering terrain, and it causes -1 to attack rolls that are attacked through it. And also it takes 2 movement to move out of it. I think that's everything that does. And then all of this down here is water, and you can see there's some extra water tiles added here. And water, it costs 2 movement to move out of it, and figures cannot dodge when they're in water. So definitely decreases my ability to defend myself while in the water there. And also, one thing to keep in mind, the water louds cannot voluntarily leave water either. So this water loud over here is actually landlocked into this space, this kind of pond right here. So that's something to keep in mind. This is another cave sickle we've got here. And then down here we've got 2 Gavaldons? I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but we'll go with Gavaldon. And they're actually sleeping right now according to the special rules of the scenario, and they will not wake up until either one of my guys ends up on this space or they're dealt damage. If I deal them damage while they're sleeping, then at that point, then it's +6 to the roll, and then they'll activate. So I laid these out randomly. I have not looked at them yet, and the order that we're going to do it in is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that all the way down. All right, so first will be Remy. Then the water louse, then rook, and then cave sickles 1 through 3, which are these 3 right here. The colored bases match up to the actual cards that I showed you a moment ago. Then we've got the Gavaldons, and then Nightingale, and then cave sickle 4 through 6, but really that's just cave sickle 4, which is the one over there with the water loud that's landlocked. The cave sickle's not, he can get out of there, but the water loud. And then Zeke. All right, so there you go. That is the setup for the Gauntlet Cavern 2 for Medora. I hope you've enjoyed this video so far. I'm really excited to get into this. This game has just been so much fun. So, I mean, again, I'm only, what, four episodes in, or 4 encounters into the game, and it's already really piqued my interest. So come back and join me for the actual gameplay. That video should be up here in the next few days, I hope. And until next time, if you're bored online, bored offline.